Stop running down the meh and mundane hallways of life and tap into the magical. My name is Michelle Shutter. I am a life and leadership coach for women and host of the Life Coaching Classroom podcast. I like to welcome you to Life Coaching Classroom, where we walk with you in the hallways of life so you can align to the beautiful expansiveness of your true self through reconnection, reinvention, and rejuvenation. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to class. Hey, welcome back to this episode on the Life Coaching Classroom podcast. My name is Michelle Shutter. I am your host. And in this episode today, episode 64, we're going to tackle 5 reasons why we self-sabotage. Perfect timing, right? Because we're getting right to the middle of January in 2023. And you know what happens then, right? We begin to ditch our goals. We begin to self-sabotage. And I'm going to share with you 5 reasons why that happens. But before I do that, if you're a new listener or a new viewer, welcome. I am so glad you are here and that you took some time to invest in yourself. A little bit about the Life Coaching Classroom. It's a place where we support women in really reconnecting to their beautifully aligned expansiveness of their true self. Let's face it, over time, it's very easy for us to become disconnected from us, from our true heart, from that beautiful inner being of who we truly are. So in the classroom, we focus on 6 different subject areas: heart, healing, health, humanity, harmony, and happiness. No particular order, and they all work together cohesively. They all overlap. But it's by using these 6 subject areas that we create this reinvention process. And it's through this process that women can reconnect back into their true self. They can really reignite that fire within regardless of age, because we know that age has a tendency to hold us back in some ways. And you know what happens when women reignite that fire within? Look out, right? Look out, world. Here we come. So welcome to the Life Coaching Classroom podcast. You know, we are getting to that middle point of January 2023. And all of a sudden we're like, oops. Like, what happened to that goal? What happened to our amazing intentions, right? We started off the year so strong and we were at that high, and now that curve is starting to come in, and our time is drooping and our commitment level is drooping and it's going down. And why does that happen? Like, why am I facing yet another year of self-sabotage, right? Ugh, I get it. If you have been there, know that you are not alone. Maybe you are there right now. You are not alone. We have all gone through these different periods of time. And yet we repeat that pattern over and over again, which is so defeating in so many ways, which really makes us question who we are, question, like, should I even try for things anymore? And I want to share with you that, like, it took me until the year 2020. I was 49 years old until I stuck to a goal for an entire year. Many times I set goals that were just way too big, out of my reach, in a sense that I was setting myself up to be disappointed. So what did I do? I self-sabotaged myself so that I could feel that disappointment, right? Well, in 2020, I set just a really simple goal. And to this day, I still am committed to that goal. And what was that? It was just something simple. It was, I am going to go to bed each night and I'm not going to pile my clothes on the floor. I'm not going to have any new clothes that need to be put away. I'm not going to have them sitting on my dresser. Everything is going to be put away. I was very big on, like, I'm getting ready for bed. I'm just going to throw my clothes on the floor. I'll deal with them the next day. Well, the next day comes, I pile more on top, and then I've got piles, right? And I didn't want to do that anymore. So I made just a very simple goal for 2020. And to this day, it has just become a habit. I do not go to bed until my clothes are put away, and the clothes that I'm taking off get put away as well. Like, they are not on the floor, and I don't wake up to that mess. And I love it. It feels really, really good. So regardless of where you are, just know that your goal is still important, no matter how big or how small it is. But make sure you're setting something where you can achieve success along the way. But back to the self-sabotage part of this, right? So here we are, we're starting to neglect our goals. We fall off the wagon, we get on the wagon. We fall off the wagon, we get on the wagon. All of a sudden, the wagon moves a little bit faster and we fall off. And we just repeat this pattern over and over and over again. And it's so exhausting to us. And yet we still do it. So I want to share with you 5 different reasons why we self-sabotage. And maybe one of these will resonate with you and it'll click that light bulb and you'll be like, yes, I need to make this shift. I need to make this change. Perhaps all of these will resonate with you. If that's the case, don't get overwhelmed. At the end of this podcast, I'm going to extend an invitation to you for an upcoming unit study workshop that will be so beneficial to you. So let's get into number 1. Why do we self-sabotage? Now, keep in mind that I just picked out 5 different reasons kind of based on where I have been with people and different clients that I've worked with. Okay, so again, take what lands for you. And if it works for you and you can make a shift, great. If not, don't get hung up on it. Okay, so the first one. The reason why we self-sabotage is that we haven't made ourselves a priority. So we set these goals, but yet we kept ourselves on the back burner. We didn't prioritize ourselves or our goals. We continue to let others come first. We live into this identity of I have to be a superhero. I have to be a superwoman. I have to be a supermom. And I just that just cringes on me. It never landed with me when someone said, oh, you're such a super mom, as in one word, right? The superhero supermom. Or you're such a superwoman, blah, blah. It just doesn't land with me because that is not our identity. When we live into those identities, we don't prioritize ourselves. We come in and we take care of everybody else and we take care of all the different tasks that are happening in our day and our weeks and our months, and yet we neglect ourselves. And for some reason, it lingers in the back of our minds that it's better for us to sacrifice, to suffer in some way than it is to prioritize ourselves. We don't need to wear that badge at all. So if this is happening to you, if you have not prioritized yourself, take a step back and look to see why that is happening. Kind of peel back some of those layers. The second way that we self-sabotage, or a reason why, is that we don't develop a plan and we don't develop a schedule to live out that plan. Now, every day, and I know if you're listening to this on podcast, you won't be able to see this, but I have a plan that I create every single day. It is something that it is a work in progress for me. I do not get everything crossed off my list. However, to have that down and out of my head really creates some additional space for me. In addition, I know that my schedule cannot be so rigid. There has to be some flexibility. There has to be some fluidity in it. And when I reflect on it at the end of the day, it really, again, sets me up for success for the next day because I know where I need to allow myself some more grace. The thing I want you to remember is that planning, scheduling, crossing things off our list is a very masculine energy. And it's great if you've lived in that masculine energy for a long time. However, we can't neglect the feminine energy in terms of we want to have some creativity with it. And that is why, if you saw, that is why I add color and different things to my planner. If we developed a plan or a schedule just from feminine energy, it wouldn't happen. It would just be like, okay, we're going to go with the flow and whatever happens, happens. And we're super chill about it. So when you're planning and scheduling, there has to be some harmony. There has to be some balance from it because many times when women, and there's a lot of us that are in this intense masculine energy all the time, when we try to flip over to the feminine, we come from a wounded place. And when we come from a wounded place, we create and destroy. Hello, self-sabotage. Right? Do you know what I'm talking about? Yep. And the other thing I want you to remember in terms of this reason is that the plan gives us meaning. It gives us purpose. It gives us fulfillment. So yes, we are planning in our masculine energy, but the fulfillment part of it, the creativity that comes from it, is all about the feminine energy. So again, we have to bring some balance back into it. So number 2 was we haven't planned and we haven't created any kind of schedule. Number 3, the third reason why we self-sabotage is that we're afraid of failure. Or are we afraid of success? Because who would we be if we achieved that goal? Like we would have to be somebody new. And failure doesn't feel good to us, right? Failure is that emotion that makes us want to cringe, that makes us want to hide, that we feel it in different parts of our body. Now, keep in mind that your mind wants to keep you safe. It wants you to survive. It doesn't want you to feel pain in any sort of way. So if you're not aware of the thoughts around being afraid of failure or afraid of success, you'll avoid it at all costs. Right? And again, like sometimes it seems so silly to think like, why would we be afraid of success? Well, it's the exact same reason we'd be afraid of failure because we have to create a new identity. And it's more comfortable to us if we stay in the same place, in the same routine, to whatever is familiar to us. Which leads me now to number 4. The fourth reason why we self-sabotage is that we're afraid to let go of the old self. That old self is familiar. The old self, you can even call it the current self, right? What you are living right now is familiar. It's comfortable. It's not about being expansive because sometimes that word of being expansive and really reconnecting back into like who we are is scary. Like, I don't know where I'm going to go or who I'm going to be or what I'm going to do. But I want you to know anytime you do something new, it doesn't matter how big or how small. Essentially, you're doing this every day. You just don't realize it. Is that you are reinventing yourself. You are reinventing parts of you. It's inevitable. Sometimes it comes across our plate and it's just this wee little bit. And sometimes it comes across our plate and it's big and it's like exposed for everybody to see. We can't be afraid of letting go of the old self, our current self, because our new self has so much more growth and opportunity and reasons for us to up level. Number 5, another reason, the fifth reason why you self-sabotage, and this probably should have even been the first one that I shared, is that your foundation is unstable. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, you want to start something new because it's different and it sounds like a good idea. And it sounds, yes, like, the beginning of the year. Yes, I'm going to set this goal. I'm going to set this intention. This is going to be amazing. And yet, the minute we take action on it, all these limiting beliefs, these limiting thoughts come up. Now, keep in mind, a belief is just a thought that you have been thinking over and over and over again. But the problem is all these limiting thoughts, these limiting beliefs have created an unstable foundation. It is so challenging to go after a goal if we don't have our thoughts and our feelings and our actions aligned with the results that we are seeking. It's so challenging. And this is why we stumble, we fail, we self-sabotage because we don't have that foundational piece in place. What would be different if we had all of that alignment in place first and then stepped into our goal? It would be so different, so different because our thoughts create our feelings, which create our actions, which create our results. And many times, whatever thought we are thinking is exactly the same as the result we are getting. So it's no wonder we can't reach our goals or we can't Again, like release that weight or stick with a fitness plan or be consistent with decluttering our house, like whatever it is, right? Because we didn't take the time to create that stable foundation using our thoughts and our feelings and our actions to get the results. Now, keep in mind, your foundation can shift because it always has to be worked on. Why? Because you're always reinventing yourself. You're always starting new in some way, shape, or form. Now, those 5 reasons again are you haven't made yourself a priority. Number 2, you didn't create a plan or a schedule. Number 3, you're afraid of failure or perhaps success. Number 4, you're afraid to let go of the old self. And number 5, your foundation is unstable. Now, if any of those 5 reasons resonate with you, or if you're living it right now, like I get it, I see you, I feel you, I understand. Here's the thing. It's time for you to move past them. And so what I want to extend an invitation to you to is our upcoming unit study workshop, where it is entitled Honoring You. We are going to dive into so much in such a short period of time. I was working on it today, and I'm just so excited to bring this one to you because it is going to make a big difference for you. Honoring You is just going to be a one-day workshop due to my schedule, and it is going to be just where we are going to create that stable foundation so that if you need to go back and redo a goal, have at it. We're going to prioritize yourself. We're going to learn how to like let go of the old and welcome the new and embody it and embrace it. And when we do this, we seriously can reconnect back to our true self. We can move out of the mundane, the mediocrity of life and bring in the magical. And the magical is that true self. That magical is peeling back the layers and allowing your beautifully aligned expansiveness of your true self to shine through. I would love to have you in class. The way you can get there is just to register by going to lifecoachingclassroom.com/unit. Again, that is lifecoachingclassroom.com/unit. It'll be the last full week in January, which is next week, I think, as a matter of fact, by the time this podcast goes out. So again, lifecoachingclassroom.com/unit to register for our upcoming unit study class called Honoring You. I would love to hear what you're taking away from this episode. Drop me a message, shoot me an email, hello@lifecoachingclassroom.com. And most importantly, let's move beyond this self-sabotage and why you self-sabotage. Let's create that stable foundation, that solid foundation, and we can do that during the unit study. So I will see you in class. Have you joined our monthly unit study? If not, you better head on over and reserve your seat at lifecoachingclassroom.com/unit. The unit study gives you an opportunity to experience life coaching at no charge. Again, register and get all the details at lifecoachingclassroom.com/unit. I do have a favor. Could you take a moment to share this podcast and Life Coaching Classroom with your besties? Perhaps they too are tired of running down the meh and mundane hallways of life. Let's give them a little spark in their day. Finally, I'd be so grateful if you take a minute to review the podcast. The reviews definitely help to spread the podcast to more women. Thank you. I so appreciate you, and I will see you in class.